Welcome to the Eclectic Gamers Podcast. Today is Saturday.
What?
I know. It's March
Say what?
28th.
It is.
And it's episode 268.
That's right.
I'm Tony.
I'm Dennis. Post TPF recap.
Recap episode.
Plus video
a
games.
Day early.
It is early. It's pretty early. What's going on?
Not much. We're recording early because I'm taking one of my daughters up to meet her cosplay group at Planet Comic-Con tomorrow.
Which is huge. Planet Comic-Con is
It is.
huge. I've been seeing the ads for a month.
So I was a terrible person, and I didn't pre-order tickets far enough in advance to get like discounts.
Mm-hmm.
For Sunday, the small day, the slower day, normally the cheaper day.
Yes.
It is still $80 a ticket.
Okay.
Or I'm sorry, it's $60 a ticket. Saturday was $80 a ticket.
Phew. Okay, so you saved
still,
$20
It
by
is
being Sunday.
$60 a ticket for
What did it
Sunday.
used to be?
I haven't been to a Planet Comic-Con in like 15 years. I actually might have been longer than that. I haven't been to Planet Comic-Con since they moved to their current location. So it might be closer to 20 years. So money back then compared to money now has no meaning.
Right. Yeah. So basically it's cheap.
Yeah, it's super cheap. I was able to pre-purchase parking, and that only cost me an extra $40.
Yeah, that's how they get you is the parking.
And it's 4 blocks away.
It's not even close parking. That's just how they do it out there. It's different. It's different than TPF. But William Shatner wasn't at TPF.
That's true. William Shatner was not at
Was
TPF.
Sean Astin at TPF?
No.
No. Was Elijah Wood?
No.
No.
But John Rhys Davies was.
Once upon a time, but not this time.
True.
Yeah, TPF. Where was John? Where was Benedict Cumberbatch to be the dragon? They had a dragon motif. Where he could have been the dragon. He could have. But instead of being Schmog, he could be whatever name they wanted to name it. I don't remember, but they had a event survey.
I don't remember what
ideas.
I don't remember.
I don't know what one.
I don't know.
But well, I've been recovering from Texas. You
got the con flu?
No, I felt okay.
I did too.
My legs got really bad. I noticed they were. It was just weird. It was weird. I finally, about a day after we got back, maybe 2. No, it was the next day. Finally realized it was like my medial gastroc was cramping. Because I just was having this mild leg pain, but I don't know. That's like with tennis leg. It was very weird. I don't know why what I did that would have done that. Because
We walked a lot.
Yeah, but that would normally be the shin splints, like tibialis anterior muscle, not the side of
That's true.
The inside of the gastroc.
I wonder if it was how you were holding your leg in the car on the way back.
Maybe. That was one possibility. I did have a lot of sitting there, especially that. The other thing for that, I had to look up what that muscle does because I'm like, well, why would I irritate it? Because I don't normally have gastroc pain. And it's like, the other thing is if you're trying to keep balance, so like walking on sand can do it. I also thought all my positioning and side-to-side jostling with the pinball machines, it may have been.
It was 3 days of bobbing and weaving.
It was more my right leg than my left, and I don't stand even at the machine. I stand in a stance. I stand one leg's further up than the other.
Yeah.
So
crane.
Basically,
Mantis.
I did the crane, but badly. So anyway,
Iron hoof.
Other than that, I have played a little bit of video games, but I made basically no progress. I got a little bit further in Jedi. I've been playing Battlefield 6, Overwatch 2, Marvel Rivals. So I have been playing, but not much in my single-player realm.
I haven't done nothing of that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, I had to get caught up at work.
You need one of those massage guns where it's got the big ball and it goes.
That sounds like it would just made it really hurt.
You would think. I've got one. And it's actually really good because I have a big issue with a lot of times, especially after working out, I'll get real bad muscle cramps overnight while I'm sleeping. And it is wonderful for working out the bolt upright. My Charlie horse sets me bolt upright in bed issue.
Right. That makes sense.
And then when I started adding more potassium to my intake, those all went away. It's amazing.
The other thing I thought is also could have been dehydration, because I don't drink as much when I'm at events like that.
Yeah.
So I don't walk around with water, for example.
You're not a hydro bro?
No, it's just become I think it's almost a meme at this point with the number of people who I still remember like watching things like Evo, and they're opening their water bottles and taking a drink after every round.
Oh, you're right.
And it's like, guys, if you're that dependent, I mean, water is life, don't get me wrong, but if you're that dependent, like, it's an addiction at that point.
I mean, I've seen people who go through just insane amounts of, like, they can't even talk for like more than 2 sentences without getting a drink of water.
Yeah,
and it's like, oh, okay. It's like, I remember back in my younger days.
You had to get permission to go out to the drinking fountain.
Yeah, well, right. And nowadays the kids all have water in class with them at all times.
Yep.
I mean, I remember back
right next to their cell phone.
We wouldn't even get a drink of water during the entirety of our wrestling practice.
No, well, I didn't know how the wrestling practice went, but no, water was almost like Dune. It was a scarce resource. You couldn't have that, and you couldn't have your pager because you were a drug dealer if you had a pager.
Yeah.
So that's how life was back then in the old days.
In the olden days.
So we'll go ahead and we'll start with pinball, and then we'll do video games because there are some video game items. We do also have a couple emails, but they were all in the video game segment. So I think we should go ahead and carve up TPF kind of in 2 chunks. I'd like to just talk about the show in general first, and then we'll go over all the quote-unquote new games that we played, because there were a lot of games that came out last year that Tony and I had not had an opportunity to play around here. And so we finally got the chance to do so and give our thoughts on all of those. So I'll go ahead and denote here at this point, though, that Texas Pinball Festival was very kind, and they did give us media passes, so we didn't have to pay to get into the show. We also were able to get in early, which helped a lot with some of these new games.
Very much
because that would have sucked a lot of time up trying to
the lines on Yukon Yeti were crazy.
Yukon Yeti and Winchester both ended up with really bad lines. Yukon was the most obvious because of its positioning in the in the way they did the layout. But so anyway, thank you very much to Texas Pinball Festival for allowing us to do that. And of course, here's the coverage of the show because they allowed us to do that. So general show thoughts. Okay, so we mentioned, I'll start with the little dragon thing. What'd you think? Like, they did a mascot.
I thought the little thing, other than when it tried to eat my head, because I got too close to it while we were standing in line to pick stuff up, it looked cool. I kind of like the idea of having a mascot thing.
Do you like the idea of it not having to be based off of any old pinball machine? Because historically, they always did a theme around some old art package.
Right.
And this was, as far as I know, unique.
Yeah. I have no problem with it.
The dragon was like a Chinese dragon. For those that, it was that
I mean,
style.
there's so many conventions anymore that have like mascot things that have nothing to do with anything, that are just something that they've created to have something to make stickers of or put a symbol on or whatever.
I thought it was fine. Did I love it? No. The issue, Tony mentioned his head almost being consumed. We'll get to the check-in in a bit because that could have definitely been better. But the people were taking their picture in front of the like animatronic dragon. It looked cool.
Yeah.
I didn't get any shirts or anything this year, but so I don't know if it helped move merch better or worse or the same as any old pinball art thing. But I like the idea that it'll let them branch out to be a little more creative with kind of theme that they want to do. I'd say outside of just being a mascot, though, to my knowledge, I didn't feel like there was a theme to the show. Like, oh yeah, no, there's like going to be panels on dragons and all it is a thing of art.
That would have been cool.
And it stands alone. Well,
the dragon panel.
When I used to work, one of my nonprofits I used to work for, when we would do our annual conference, we were terrible about this too, quite frankly. But the idea is we would, every conference had a theme.
Yeah.
And so how do you tie the theme in? And that was the part we struggled with. So generally the idea is we'd have the keynote presentations be in the realm of the theme, but anything else, all the workshops and stuff were completely irrelevant to it. Well, that would be it was too hard. We were governmental focused. So we're busy telling you here's the new protocol for gravel roads and stuff. Not and dragons. Like you couldn't just do End Dragons.
It's the governmental. This is the new governmental protocol dealing with dragon infestation.
This is Schmaug. Here's how to hoard taxpayer dollars like Schmaug. I mean, what are you gonna do? Add as a subtitle? It just wouldn't work. So anyway, yeah. So people seem to like it. That was kind of neat. I want to talk about check-in though.
Yeah.
Okay. So check-in was where it always has been, which basically was fine, and the dragon and stuff. And the banners were right by the doors. Now, the doors that they had, typically where you used to be able to walk into the ballroom, they moved the seminar room up front.
Right.
Let's do an aside there. I didn't attend any of the seminars myself, but what'd you think about the idea of putting it so close to the main entrance where the food trucks are?
I think it makes sense because it makes it more visible. Mm-hmm. Being in the back, I think it was very easy for the seminar room to get lost so people don't notice it and don't think about it. And a lot of people come in and play and they don't even look at the schedule of events to see what or where. So I think it makes it more prominent, more front and center.
I think you're right. I think overall it was smart. I know you and I, because we stay at the Drury, usually come in through the back door. But there have been plenty of years where we've tried to go in and that door is locked and you'd have to go around. So you could actually not even ever be able to come into the show and see the seminar room.
Yeah, sometimes they just don't want you to have access through the back door.
So that was that was okay. I was like, it's like you were too proud as you were saying that. And I was like, okay, the listeners will appreciate it, I'm sure. So anyway, but we didn't attend any of the seminars. Back to the check-in. I don't know what was going on now, they had offered a new service this year to let people pick up their badges at the hotel.
Yes.
They pre-registered. We weren't able to do that, I believe, because we got media passes. The way that worked, it didn't offer that option.
Right.
I think, unless it did, and we just didn't have that. I know I didn't get them when I checked in. So we went and lined up. It was the most confused I've ever seen it.
Yeah, I'm wondering, part of it I think is normally they've got like 5 or so people back back there helping run things through, and at that particular time they only had like 2 people there.
This was like around noon.
It was noon
11.
it was like 11 something on Friday,
right.
Like 11:30 on Friday. So that's already going to be the busy time because everybody's coming in, because it's just before the early open. So that's already going to be the busier time.
Yes. That's why I don't understand why there weren't enough volunteers.
Right.
Like, it's always had a line. Don't get me wrong. Tony and I have always stood in line.
Yeah.
We almost always get the badges at this time. And lots of people do. There was one person with one tablet handling check-in. There was another person who was like helping. And I think the idea was someone's going to look them up and someone else is going to grab the stuff. And they're going to assembly line it and be efficient. But there were multiple lines.
Yeah, and that was the thing. And there was multiple lines, and they were kind of confused because originally it was everybody with pre-order badges are in the left line, and everybody who needs to purchase a badge goes to the right line. And then they decided, well, everybody with pre-order badges where your name starts between A and M goes in the left line, and N to Z is in the right line. And then there's a center line for people who need to buy badges. And then like halfway through, we're still in the line the whole time. That changes back to, the right line's for buying badges, and there's no longer a center line. Mm-hmm. It was real confusing.
Yeah, and this was after someone had handwritten a sign about the buying badges middle line and stuck it on top, but you couldn't read it from distance because it was just an 8.5 by 11 that was handwritten. And different people thought different things about the middle line. And I remember someone, and I think it was someone with the show, afterward when they had switched back to the get in the right lane if you're going to buy. And he was like, "Oh, okay. So everyone who wasn't responsible gets to get their stuff first because that one was going quick,
right?
Everyone else was stuck in the pre-order line because almost everyone pre-ordered." And I didn't think much of that one way or the other, but just going up through it, it was shockingly inefficient. Because they've done this for a really long time. I'm really surprised that it was that bad.
I think it's the worst it's ever been for that particular pickup.
I did like the change where for the people that had multi-day passes, no more of those wristbands, period.
Yes.
Just the badge.
That is so good.
I hate the wristbands.
The wristbands, and I remember the first year we started
With the paper ones?
with the paper wristbands, and it's like, oh, good, we're at a convention and I can't shower because my wristband is paper.
Yes. Yeah, no. The old ownership switched over to the plastic ones, which held up great.
Yes.
But I don't like wearing wristbands. They're annoying. They scratch. It's either keep them too loose or have them tight. And
I swell. I
yes.
swell, so I can't have. I don't want them tight in the first place.
When they went plastic, they're like cut into you. Now they still had wristbands for people that were going to do one day, but when you're done with the one day, you just cut it off and leave, and it's not a big deal. But
I think that was a wonderful change.
I liked that change. I like that there wasn't a packet. I know, historically, I'm sure people would sponsor and buy little flyers and stuff, but the program book, now they're just printing it on the back of the badge. I think that works great.
Yep.
So really,
QR codes to get to look at stuff online.
Yeah.
It's great.
The website was pretty good too for being able to look at the schedule. So the website was a good improvement. I think it's easier now to find the cart and stuff again. Because I went through that process before we had our media badges. So I was like, just in terms of navigating in the old days, I found it kind of confusing to find, like, especially if you're trying to find the hotel codes to get the discount code. There'd be a hotel section. I don't know. It was always just the way it was laid out didn't feel quite as intuitive. It felt a little mid 2000s to me. Not full on like 90s style website.
Right.
But it's always just a little like, I feel like I'm scrolling more than I need to scroll just to make purchases. But anyway, so overall, I thought that went pretty good. The band, what do you think about the band?
They've been doing the band for a couple of years now, and I think grand total in the several years they've been doing the band, have we listened to maybe 2 total songs?
Maybe. It's not.
Maybe. We don't really. It's not really my.
It's not my jam.
Yeah, it's not my jam.
See, that one was nice and clever.
That one was nice. That was beautiful. Now, one thing I meant to do, and I didn't get around to doing it, is there was overlap between seminars and the band playing, and with the seminar room being immediately in front of the band. I'd meant to go pop into a seminar because that was my curiosity: is how bad is the sound of the seminar room when the band is rocking out just outside the room, and I completely forgot about it at the time. So I don't know. I can see where the band is a popular addition. I've been to a lot of conventions that have, band or a rave or a DJ or something at the end of the night, or a lot of times at a like in a back room area or a back area away from the main stuff.
Yeah, I still question putting it front and center. So the way they position the band is basically by the front door. So you have to go by the band and through everyone who's sitting and watching. And there were a lot of people who were watching the band to get to the food trucks, or now to get to the seminar room, or, as we'll discuss in a moment, to get down to some of the vendors. It's pretty cramped because it was so popular. So I think they need to keep the band because people clearly like it. I don't know about putting it in that position.
I don't know if there's a better position.
There probably isn't, is why I struggle to say that. Though, they used to have where the old, again, it probably affects how they configure the ballroom, though. The old seminar room, they used to, one year, they had the band in there. Like they had, I think it was Scott Denisi DJ'd, so it wasn't really a band, but they had the whole music like rave thing going on in there. So maybe the seminar room could become the band room.
Maybe I could see that. I think it's one of those things that I wonder if it being pushed back in a room doesn't reduce the engagement. Because it's designed to be more of a kind of a social, like it's like a wide space in the line where people slow down, even as they're passing by, and kind of join in or become part of a social engagement.
Okay. Put it outside.
That would work.
By the food trucks, and then just use tents if it's going to be wet.
That's a good idea.
It's also, this is Old Man Yells at Cloud. It's really loud.
It is super loud. I wonder if putting it outside would require different permitting from the city.
I don't know. But with the money they raise off of Schmaug, they could maybe do that. I don't know. It creates quite a bit of traffic congestion.
Yeah, right.
So I'm just setting me and my cloud aside. Like if you wanted to navigate to the food court, the interior stuff with the hotel selling stuff, or you wanted to try and get to the vendors down the hall, it becomes a bit of a challenge.
It was tight. We walked through there on, was that Saturday night?
Yes,
Saturday night when we went through that area, and it was very very tight trying to weave in and out and around.
It's
stuff.
a high traffic area, and most concert setups that I have seen aren't really designed for traffic to constantly be flowing through it, especially traffic that's not interested in that.
Yeah.
So anyway, just a comment, but
I wonder if maybe having another set of open doors a little down the hallway so people could have access to the game floor without having to transit, that would help.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, the band's only really one time, so
Yeah.
But I mean, it was louder by the band than it ever was in the arcade hall.
It was.
So I did bring my noise canceling headphones.
They helped a lot.
So did you have any other general thoughts you wanted to do, or you want to jump into the new games, new to us games? Some of them were actually new.
Yeah, I think overall, the changes in the interior layout
Oh yes, the layout, the big thing.
were just phenomenal. Because I remember from when we first started going to TPF how tight and cramped everything was, and they kept edging and working on the layout to make it a little bit better, so it wasn't quite so high. I'm in continuous physical contact with every living creature around me. And I feel like this year they had an incredibly large number of games, an incredibly large number of vendors, but it didn't feel nearly as badly cramped. You didn't have the tight hallways or little lanes that they used to do. Everything was spread out better. I think overall this is the best layout they've had that I can think of. I can't think of one that I've liked better.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. This was the best configuration I have ever seen for any pinball show.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, they had a lot of games out in the hallways.
Yeah, so you could play those we had early access with media passes. There were a lot of games outside. It wasn't like 8. They used to just like throw a little row out there where people could play some stuff when the show wasn't open. But this, there were a lot of the game. I think some people, we even saw it in our Discord, some people felt like it was down in attendance and maybe down in games. They had over 500 games. And it did feel like it, to me, as long as you took stock of where they all were. They weren't all in that one room.
Right.
So that was huge. Very easy to walk around. I'd say they did still have some of those instances. I call it the wheel and spoke model, and I criticized that in the past, like with Pulp Fiction, where they had this time the popular stuff like Yukon Yeti wasn't right by the entrance, so they could spoke that out, and it didn't interrupt people being able to walk around the circle.
Correct.
The only really tight area, in my view, is Marco's space. And that's because they kind of choose to do that circle setup with their games. But they brought so many that it really wasn't that bad. Most games didn't have you wait more than behind 2 groups. Usually it was just one.
And the other thing is that they did move a lot of the vendors into the halls too.
Yeah, we didn't realize how many originally.
Yeah, because originally it was like, oh yeah, they moved a few more of the vendors out here, and then we went down the hall towards the embassy, and it's like, oh wow, there are vendors like almost all the way down to the embassy at this point.
Yeah, so that was, and I'm sure it was on the map. It's just I hadn't been looking at the map,
right?
So realizing that there were a lot more vendors.
Looking at a map, who uses maps?
That's right. Who does? No, you just find your way, and so. Understanding that also freed up a lot of space. When we first started going to TPF, they had the weirdest layout. It felt like a maze trying to navigate.
Well, and remember, that was when they had the tournament in the main room. And it was right up front, so you have all that stuff, all that space given up to the tournament.
They moved that out of there quite a while ago, which was good.
But yeah, no, there's always been a bunch of... And then I've wondered if maybe the way they shifting the seminar from the back to the front didn't let them readjust... I thought it felt good.
I still saw, I think on Pinside, some people commenting that TPF is too big for that facility, and I'm like, I think it was fine.
Yeah,
I think it's working just fine with how they're having to shuffle things around, but there are other things they can do if there's even more demand for like putting more games in or whatever. Like that DeLorean could leave.
Yeah.
I saw one person take a photo with a DeLorean, so I guess the DeLorean still has property, but they didn't have Back to the Future with it. Like there used to always be a Back.
No, there was a Back to the Future there.
I didn't see it. I never played it because it's Back to the Future.
Right.
But
yeah, it was there. It was off to one side.
All right. But I mean, they've still got some free space. I mean, there were still some really wide open areas. But I appreciate it because it also cut down on the sound.
It did.
I did. Again, I noted I brought my noise canceling earbuds this time. However, I think I'd have been okay without them in the game hall. But there were a lot of people. It didn't feel like, we talked about a year or two ago where it felt like, wow, this almost feels dead. Like, I think that was 2 years ago. No, it felt like there were a lot of people. At one point, Tony and I thought I had seen someone I knew. I thought it was Nick Shell. So Nick, if you were there, I do think I saw you, but if you weren't there, I hallucinated and thought I saw you. And so anyway, Tony and I spent 30 minutes trying to, because I thought I saw him. Tony was wrapping up his third ball on a game. Took about 30 seconds. Look back over to wrap up. I'm sure you played for like 10 minutes. And then it was gone. So we went over to where I
looked left, and I thought I saw Nick, and I looked back to say something. Tony's ball was already over. He was just done. It was just.
But I couldn't find him, and I was like, I went over there, and he was gone. We looking at the vendors, we ran into George on the hotel side. I hadn't seen him.
Oh yeah, I hadn't seen him the whole time.
We missed Eugene. Eugene messaged me after we got back because he saw the picture that Jake put of us playing Monster League hockey. But we knew they had a spot, so we were able to find Monster League hockey. And we were right by where Eugene was. I don't know if he was there at the time, but he was in the homebrew section, and we'd gone through there multiple times.
We went through
it was
there a
like
bunch of times.
we were on the game floor for hours, and that we did not run into a lot of people that we know and that were there demonstrates just how many people there really were churning through this place.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point, because there have been some years where we've gone to the show, we've made the rounds, we've done our stuff, and then we've gone and done other things for hours, and then come back to the show for an hour or two, and then go away. And this year, I feel like we actually spent a really large amount of time overall at the show.
I think it was the most we spent on the show floor in the last 3. It was the most.
I think so.
I think it's pretty safe to say.
Because I know sometimes it's been, it was so loud and so crowded and everything. It's just like, I just want to get out of it.
And quite bluntly, Tony and I use a lot of this time just as a vacation. So like we went and saw our Hail Mary movie.
Yeah, we went and saw Hail Mary on Friday.
Like we funded our filming. We made that movie and wrote that book.
Yeah,
basically.
We genetically engineered Ryan Gosling to be Ryan Gosling and Rocky. So
that's what we do.
That was just the fun little connection since we listened to Project Hail Mary.
Yeah, it was actually tied in because I got to hear it as an audiobook on a prior TPF trip. Now, of course, is Dungeon Crawler Carl.
Yes.
Which I now am done with book 2.
Yay!
All right, new games for us. There were a lot. I had to write these down when I got home because I was like, I'm going to forget. And then I'll get an email from someone going, why didn't you talk about King Kong? Like Stern won't email us, but they would have been but someone with Stern, maybe a certain programmer with Stern would have said.
Here's the thing: is
why didn't you cover this game? I
almost feel kind of bad about this because King Kong has been out for like a hot minute,
and I know it's been in the area too, so I don't have a good excuse. But the bottom line is, I hadn't played it before.
No, me neither.
And so, anyway, these are not in the order we played them, but. Because we got through most of these on Friday and a couple of them on Saturday. But anyway, let's start with King Kong. What are your thoughts?
Forgettable.
Not a bad summary. The one thing that stood out to me was I liked the humor. A lot of Easter eggs in it. A lot of quotes from other movies that aren't Kong related.
There was definitely some fun stuff in it. I'm trying to remember. We played Kong just after playing something else, and I very much was like. The other game
I think it was
better.
right after Potter.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it was right after Potter because it was very much as like that was better.
Yeah, I mean it's an Elwyn. Geometry felt good. Didn't play it enough to really get into the rules. Theme doesn't do anything for me. The animations, the fact that they don't have the movie clips to hide behind like they do with something like Godzilla or Jaws, it shows because this is very I mean. A free phone game would kind of have these animations too. I mean, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just saying, like watching the Kong have the girl in his hand. It looks like pretty jank. Not like full on spooky Halloween flash animation in a PowerPoint jank, but it's not going to win awards.
It didn't feel like a Newgrounds game,
right? Yeah,
but
right. Yeah. So forgettable. Without knowing the rules, I can't say that it would go down as one of his less swell games, but just playing it, well, I had a decent ball time on it, so it still had that kind of, Elwyn's games don't tend to be too brutal. As long as you don't set it up really hard, they usually have a moderate ball time, and I kind of felt that there, but I wasn't getting into it.
Yeah, I was the same way. It was one of those games that we played it, and it was like, eh.
So now this is actually one of the last new games we played, but we did get over to Marco's area and play The Walking Dead Remaster. Now, Walking Dead is one of my favorite board games that was done.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you think of the remaster? We played either it was the premium or the LE version, and with Kong we played I think it was premium.
Yeah.
So
I think it was a good remaster. I know you mentioned it originally when we were there. The changes to the rollovers in the shooting lane.
For the skill shot.
For the skill shot. And I like that.
Yeah,
Overall,
those worked really well. Those star rollovers were really hit or miss on, like, I had to work on my pro to get them to finally like detect properly. They're just not consistent. These, at least, again, it's a single game at a single show, but they worked very well.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Overall, I mean, I enjoy Walking Dead. And I thought it was a good remaster.
Yeah, it played fine. It was fun. I have almost zero idea why you would bother to replace your existing one with the remaster. The art. Yeah. Okay, the art's better because the old one has some of the worst art that was ever done. So I guess that might be motivation enough. But this art ain't great. It's okay. It's like Kong art's okay to me. I don't see where
this is a thing where you would want to replace your version.
And the fact that they just sort of LCD-ified the dots, I knew that ahead of time, but I didn't get to anything new when I played it. So I was just like, this feels exactly like a Vault, except with a better art package and the decision to animate dots. And I thought, okay, it's all right, but I see why it wasn't selling gangbusters too. Walking Dead was never as popular with the community as it was with a lot of like hardcore enthusiasts. It's a hard game. It remains a hard game.
Right.
So there's that. But so it was okay. I was okay with it. Now, then there was Star Wars. I forget the subtitle of the Star Wars. This
Empire something or another.
Fall of the Empire or something like that. Yeah. So anyway, we played, I think it was an LE.
It was an LE.
Okay. Most of the games, most of my experience with games has been very, very good. Like, the companies have really stepped it up from where we used to be. But wow, this game was such a disappointment.
It was.
And
I did not.
I'm trying not to let my bias filter in, because I was already, we talked about another Star Wars based on the original trilogy. But setting all that aside, what were your thoughts?
In no way, shape, or form did I expect to have the thought that I enjoyed the previous Star Wars game more than this one, and I did.
I thought this one shot more enjoyably than Richie's one did, but the first thing that stood out to me was, allow me to channel the Slam Tilt podcast, Bruce Nightingale. Cash grab! It felt, I had to look, and I did a double take over to Tony when I saw the LE plaque on it, because I thought we were on a pro.
Yeah.
It was so stripped. And you compare it to Richie's, which had the Hyperloop and the big Death Star.
Right.
This has like this little itty bitty adorable Death Star, and then it's got the little heads, and they don't even bobble. We can't let them bobble because people got mad about the TIE Fighter on a spring, so we can't have bobbleheads because there'll be bobbleheads on a spring, and the people say, why do you always use springs with Star Wars? So we can't have that. But wow, bear in mind, this is not in the order we played games.
Yes.
We had been playing game after game after game with stuff on it, and I'm looking at this, and I'm like, wow, this feels empty.
It
just
did.
really empty. And I was like, I can't believe this is an LE. This was definitely, it's Star Wars, they'll buy it anyway. That's how it felt.
Well, it's true.
I thought it shot good. I I enjoyed flipping the ball around on it. I just was like, I don't know why one would buy an LE of this game.
Yeah,
but so that was really my big takeaway. Like the sounds were fine with what it's hard to hear the sounds at the show. So sounds were fine. Animation, of course, they had the clips. I hear it has more clips than the Ritchie version. The integration, the theme was all there. It's making the right beep 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 boop sounds, all of that. But the whole time I'm just looking at it and I'm just like, compared to the other companies. I mean, like compared to Walking Dead Remaster and Kong and stuff, this just looks like there's just nothing.
Yeah.
The Kong we played actually was a pro. It didn't have the spider that went. Bah, 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 bah. But even that I thought looked more visually interesting than the LE Star Wars game.
Yeah, which is disappointing.
Yeah. So this one was. I won't say it was the biggest letdown because it wasn't, but it was the biggest letdown of all the Sterns we played for me, and it wasn't even close.
Yeah. No. Safe bet.
The last Stern that we played is the newest, but we got to play Pokemon.
Pokemons.
So, what'd you think of Pokemon?
I thought it was a fine, safe game.
My ball times were really short, which isn't unusual for fan layouts. You can make them hard pretty easy.
Yeah, and I had the same thing. It didn't feel punishing.
Right.
It was just. I can definitely see where it's a game that is going to be extremely popular on location. Because the theme combined with the gameplay itself, I think works pretty well.
Yeah, it felt very intuitive in terms of understanding the rules. It's really clear when they're like attack the Meowth balloon and all that. And that's not a hard shot to make.
No.
And so with all of that going on, I think this would be a really good location game especially for locations that allow kids to come in, because they're going to be gravitated towards that theme. Adults, a lot of them are going to know this theme too. So just having being a general location, I think will do very, very well. Hardcore Pokemon fans will probably like the game. The art looks great. The toys looked great. I can't remember if we played a premium or an LE, but I think it was a premium. But all those stuff, the Pikachu turning his head and stuff, it's all cool. It all looked really nice and stuff. And again, we played this one after Star Wars, and so it's like, okay. So Star Wars was just a cash grab because it's Star Wars. Because Pokemon actually feels like they cared about the license and wanted stuff in there to make it really feel like you were in the world.
Yeah, it felt real good in that way. It really did good theme immersion. I felt like
so there was nothing about it that made me want it.
No.
But it was neat to play. And I'd like to put more time on it. And I had found out while we were heading for Texas that the Kansas City ones, at least one, I think actually 3 have arrived now. So we've got options. Now I just actually have to follow through like I didn't with King Kong and play them. How about Harry Potter?
I will say after playing Harry Potter, it's probably I like it more than Elton John. Even. It might be my new favorite JJP.
That's pretty high praise, Tony.
That is pretty high praise. I felt again like the theme integration was good. The toys were more fun and interesting than I thought they were going to be, like the staircase and everything. Yeah. It wasn't as just kind of gimmicky as I thought it would be. I found it more enjoyable than that. Overall, I really enjoyed our time on it a lot.
Yeah, we played an LE version. The CE was right beside us, which definitely was the better art package.
Oh, CE, best art package, period. It's $15,000. Still, it's the best art package.
Yeah, but we played the LE version, so we had all the other all the other fancy pantsiness of it. I don't know yet if I would say it's better than Elton John, but it played really well. I didn't know what I was doing rule wise. I wouldn't say I was as confused as I am with Avatar, because at least I knew the names of the stuff. But whereas with Avatar, it's like they're saying Avatar stuff, and I don't know what these words mean.
Right.
But so with this, because I've seen the movies, I was able to understand you're doing this particular multi-ball or this hurry up or whatnot.
Yeah.
And so the theme integration was great. The stairway works really quickly, which is nice. because I don't like things that really hold up the ball for a long period of time. The geometry was good. The integration with the clips from the movies worked well with all of it. So when I looked at it and I was hearing feedback, I'd heard very good feedback about it. I just, it's hard with. Sorry, y'all. It's hard with y'all in the pinball community, because some of you are such. I'm going to use the word shills. You're such shills for your themes that are bolted to the floor no matter how garbage the game is. I can't ever trust your opinion on anything.
Fanboys.
Fanboys. Thank you. It's like, oh, we're fanboying, so we have to buy stuff. And we've had people in our Discord admit they've bought things, and then they're like, you know what? This game actually isn't good.
Yeah.
And hey, at least those are fanboys who can be honest with themselves. So anyway, but I was hearing so much positivity about this. I was confident it was at least a decent player. But yeah, it definitely, I don't know versus Elton John. It's displaced all of the Lawler stuff, in my opinion. Because I personally feel like Wonka and Toy Story actually play decently. Toy Story plays too long, but Wonka's, I think, a pretty good shooter. And Dialed In has been one of my favorite JJPs, and it's still one of my favorites, and it's a Lawler. But I would put this above Dialed In, which had been my number 2 game to Elton John.
Right.
And that was after one game. I was just like, okay, no, this really has a lot of legs. And I do think, even if you're not a Harry Potter fan, this might be a game you might want to go ahead and play and just see if you like it for the gameplay.
Yeah, the gameplay, because that's the big thing that really grabbed me was the gameplay was just so much better than anything I expected.
All right, let's jump over to Dune. Yeah, we actually...
beige.
Yes, it was very brown. They had it in a nice little tent setup.
They did. It lets you see. It really let the lighting.
Yes.
Because they had Dune and Winchester were both inside one of those tents with a bunch of wall shields around, so it was very dark. So the lights really, really popped, which was nice. The downside of that is with a bunch of people standing in there, it got real stuffy.
Yeah, it did. They only had a couple Dunes, I think, maybe 3. 2 Winchesters.
2 Winchesters, 2 or 3 Dunes, and then...
a Labyrinth, right?
2 Labyrinths,
2
I
Labyrinths,
think.
okay. We'd already played Labyrinth before,
right.
So we didn't play it again. So Dune. I didn't love how it shot.
No.
I struggled. I was on the struggle bus with Dune. The worm is really cool, though.
It is.
I was glad I got that going because
the music and the call-outs are great.
Yes. So
the light show's good.
I would want more time on it to decide like if I really would like the game or not. I didn't dislike it, but when I'm struggling to do much of anything, it gets frustrating. And again, that's common when you start a pinball machine. But there are lines and it's a show and all of that. So I was like, okay, I don't love it, but like I don't dislike it like Alien, which is a theme I love, but a game that I don't like how it plays. Even though I like the rules of Alien in it, I don't like how it shoots. This, I was like, it shoots a little weird. It's got some very odd shots, and so if you're into that kind of different style layout, it does feel unique.
Yeah, and and
the lighting's cool.
The lighting's great. The like I said, the sound is great. The shots are a little weird. It was fine. I enjoyed it well enough. I'm caught on the thing I think it was too brown. And I understand that, yes, I mean, it's Dune. Of course, it's going to be brown, Tony.
Yeah,
it's Dune.
It's Dune. Iron Maiden's premium edition was brown.
But there are things that I feel like could have been done to break it up a little bit more than they did. But it was still good. It wasn't like, oh, this is, I don't ever want to spend any time on this again.
Yeah.
It was just that was just the way I came when I walked up to the machine and looked at it. And then when I walked away, I was like, man, that was brown.
Yes, it was very brown. So Winchester was not brown. Winchester was actually the very first game we played at the show, which was good because, oh my gosh, did those 2 games have lines
They did,
on them.
Real bad.
Yeah, but thanks to the Media Pass, we actually were able to just wait behind one person.
Yeah, we got in pretty good. And that game, I know nothing about the Winchester Mystery House. I'd never even heard of it before this game came out. Apparently, it's a big whatever. The game was fun. I really, it shot well. and I really enjoyed it. Didn't understand the references for
Right.
for the most part, for obvious reasons, having never heard of it before the game was announced. But I felt it shot well, and I felt it was fun.
Yes. I liked it better than Dune in
Yeah.
terms of show. I don't care at all about this theme. Don't really know anything about it. The Pepper's ghost effect in the back is really prominent. So you're definitely, at least it is when you're in a giant dark tent.
It
and
is.
so it really stood out like visually, which is probably good that it's constantly kind of moving back and forth because there's not a whole lot going on the display animation wise because there's nothing to really feed
Right.
off of from it. Which is fine though. Like the sound effects seem to fit the theme well. The shots, again, really unique geometry. I just felt like it seemed to play more naturally. Like it was more intuitive in terms of shots being where they should be for what you expect out of Pinball versus Dune, which, sometimes when it's like everything feels like, let me use Funhouse as an example. When I play Funhouse, it always feels like everything's like on a weird spot on the flipper. I don't know how else to describe it. It's just the way Lawler designed it made it feel like he didn't want where the shots in the quote unquote usual places. Whereas I know another designer like Steve Ritchie deliberately tries to keep his shots around the same spots on the flipper because he thinks comfort breeds familiarity, which pleases players, and it does for me.
It
so
does,
he is
yeah.
right. I hate being predictable, but it does.
It's true.
It does. So
Human nature.
anyway, even though the layout itself is quite unique, it worked for me better than it did for Winchester. So I was like, oh, there are going to be a lot of people today who play this game and are going to be pissed that it's been sold. I don't even know why they brought it. I heard that those two games, obviously they have owners. So
Yeah.
they got people to give permission to I guess, or they had, anyway, someone had to give permission for a game that's not for sale to be there, which I very much appreciate because I don't know when I'd ever see this.
Yeah, I don't know.
But-
It was fun.
They could have, yeah. I mean, and they know this like after two days after when it sold out, they could have sold 1,000 of these
Easily.
Yeah, yeah. It's good. It's a good player. So I enjoyed that. We also a little bit.
Real quick before we shift. Yeah, no, 100%. If Dune had shot as well as Winchester did, Dune would have been a completely unbeatable theme.
I think it would have done very, very well. Yeah, I did wonder how much of. I think a lot of Winchester's sales came because it was Carl D'Angelo and people wanted to give the new designer a chance. But once you played it, it would have sold.
Yeah.
So, it really is good. I think the next game we actually did right after that was Yukon Yeti.
Yeah, because it was so early and there was like
Yep.
It was like
Which-
open.
Very good decision because there were only two, and those lines, it was like the TPF of old. Like, guess we ain't gonna try it.
The only other line that I feel was as bad as the Yukon Yeti lines was in the homebrew section, the Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah, there was a huge line at that.
Every time I went past, I wanted to play it, but at the same time, I'm old and lazy, and I don't want to sit in line forever.
Right. And I still remember when Pulp Fiction came out, and we stood in line for an hour to play that game.
Yeah.
And I remember we played it again this year where there wasn't nearly so bad of a line. And I still didn't do well, but I did better than that first time. And I was just like, I can't get through that line again.
I do. Yeah, no, the line thing, though, I do enjoy Pulp Fiction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, you did really well
I
at
did
it too.
too, very
You did
well.
really well.
But not just for that reason. I like how it. I liked how it shot. I really do.
So, Yukon, what'd you think of how Yukon shot?
Between what I'd seen going into it and some of the early reactions from other folk, I was not expecting anything going into Yukon. It was a lot more fun than I expected. It wasn't perfect. It had issues. But I liked it more than Star Wars. I liked it more than Kong. It was definitely more fun than those.
Right.
It was more enjoyable than I expected.
Yeah. When we were heading down, the information about Yukon Yeti was now out. So there were already people. There was a lot of criticism of the sound package, and there was criticism of the art. Were the two main things. I don't love either of those things. Again, it's a loud show. Judging the sound is very difficult. It didn't bother me. The art also didn't bother me. I acknowledge the art's not going to win any awards.
No.
But it's fine. It does feel very 90s, and it looks very 90s. It's a spiritual successor to Whitewater. It's got the little adorable little Yeti up top and stuff. I heard while waiting, because there was still a line when we played it. It was just like only one person deep instead of 12. I did hear that the game before the show opened had already sold half of its run. So 250 of 500. This game will sell out. After playing it, I was like, yeah, no, they're not going to. In fact, it wouldn't have shocked me if by the end of TPF, they had commitments for all 500.
Yeah.
It was pretty fun. If you like that, again, it's some of the shots they're going to feel very Whitewater-esque. Whitewater is a very popular game. It's not my personal favorite game, but a lot of people really love Whitewater. My biggest criticism, I actually got I felt, especially for my first time playing, I felt I got to see quite a bit of the game on my none of my balls were really, really short. Especially the first two went decently long. My biggest criticism is the escalator lift ramp for the ball. Okay. Sigh. Visually, it is incredibly cool.
Yes.
But we've gone straight up Steamboat Wheel, Maverick, Snatcher from Lost World, Jurassic Park. Like, this is fun 2 times, and then you're sitting there watching the ball go up. Now, when you're like doing the multi-ball and you've got that's the ball lock. So you've got multiple, watching them go up again, visually, it's like, that's cool. It's like, again, like watching the Godzilla building drop to put the balls out. But waiting is not something pinball people want to do once they get used to it. They want to hit both flipper buttons and just like let it go. So
yes.
I don't know. There's going to wait. Like they need to like increase the speed of it, just like how the Tasmanian Devil on the spooky Looney Tunes needed to have its speed increased so it would actually spin. Like I don't know, but it's one of those things where I'm like, this is going to resonate great at a show in a home environment. Unless you're showing a new person, at some point, this is way too slow.
It is, and I wonder if it's not. Because you've got the option to add a ball instead of start the multi-ball. Mm-hmm. I wonder if it wouldn't feel better if you did that until it was fully loaded.
I bet it would.
I bet it'd feel great.
But at a show, I was not taking that chance.
Right?
I was not going to do it.
Yeah.
So I was like, because Tony was like, what, you're not going to lock another ball? I'm like, no, I'm going to do multi-ball.
Multi-ball!
I'm going to do my multi-ball. What, are you crazy? Of course I'm going to do multi-ball. Try and lock another one. Yeah, I did that once in a tournament on Aerosmith, and I lost. So I don't do that anymore. I'll just play 3-ball. It's fine. So anyway, but like shooting-wise, when I finally got my shots up into the in the top area and doing all that, it's like, yeah, it was neat. It felt a little bit, because they're accommodating so many of these devices, the left side doesn't seem to have a whole lot to really do. But again, that's because there's all this stuff up top instead. Mm-hmm. So overall, yeah, I think a lot of people, especially if you're looking for kind of a new game, but it feels like a 90s style, this is checking the box better than anything else that I played.
Yeah.
So I think it'll do really well. I think it will be their best performing game out of Turner Pinball.
Yeah, I think so too.
So there's that. Beetlejuice. Again, like Winchester and Barrels, wow, did they bring a lot of games that you can't buy?
Right? They had like 40 of them there.
It felt like there was just a whole section of just Beetlejuice-I. Is that the plural? Beetlejuice-I?
Beetlejuice-I.
Yeah.
Beetlejuicy.
Yes. There were a lot. And it was a very popular section. So very kind of people to allow their games to be played on all weekend like that. So we got to get in there and work on a Beetlejuice. Theme integration was really cool. I was hearing people play the Deo mode. I did not get Deo mode activated, but I was hearing other people play it, which was nice and catchy. While the theme integration was great, the geometry, I didn't care for it. I didn't dislike it. It was kind of like Kong for me.
Yeah.
Now, unlike Kong, this felt a lot more, feature rich in terms of gizmos and stuff.
Right.
But though I was playing a Kong Pro, so let's bear that in mind. But
Prong.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, the shots were fine. I didn't love the feel of the geometry. It wouldn't be a game I would buy. Mm-hmm. Just from shooting it around, it was like, it's not doing anything geometrically that interests me. I don't love the theme myself. I like Beetlejuice, but I haven't revisited that movie in 20 years.
Right.
So the theme integration, well, I recognize it's there, and it's really well done. Since I'm not big into the theme, it's just not clicking for me. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I see why people like it, but from a gameplay alone perspective, I wouldn't go for this game. That's kind of was my, I need more time on it to say that for sure. I have to, caveat, but like Yukon Yeti geometrically interested me more than Beetlejuice did.
Yeah, I can see that.
Dune and Winchester both. Even though Dune's geometry, again, I didn't really get into at least I recognize its uniqueness. Now, I think the way Spooky did Beetlejuice is the right move. They used to get super cute with the geometry. Mm-hmm. In fact, you and I don't know why we did it. Probably because, of course, there was no line on it. But we played Halloween. Again. And it was like, yeah, this is not, like, this is too cute for its own good. Like, that geometry is doing way too much. And it's like...
Michael Myers pops around the hedge. Ooh, woo.
The three of them. Three of them. Which the theme integration there was much more questionable. But I mean, it's like I'm trying to think of an analogy. It's like, let's imagine you were going to make cookies and you're like, I love chocolate chip cookies, and then someone else is like, but I also like peanut butter. So you throw in chocolate chips and peanut butter, and you throw in M&Ms, and the next thing you know, the cookie it's just like the individual elements. You might like all of them, but all combined, it doesn't come out to being a cookie that anyone wants to buy. Beetlejuice doesn't do that. Beetlejuice is like, we're a sugar cookie. Geometrically. We're still, run with me here with the analogy.
You want to spice it up? Cinnamon.
That's right. Snickerdoodle, which is just a glorified sugar cookie, as you've noted. It's like that, except then, like, Michael Keaton signed them. And so if you're into sugar cookies and the sugar cookie maestro has signed your sugar cookie,
right,
you're going to really want that sugar cookie.
Yeah. This is
this is a game that to me felt like all of its sales can and probably should be driven by the fact that they looked at it and they said, how can we integrate this theme as good as possible and have a layout that people aren't going to criticize?
And they did that.
It worked with Evil Dead, too, which is a nice layout. Now, I think Evil Dead shoots a lot better than this.
I think so. I think that's a fair assumption.
But this doesn't shoot bad. I just mean Evil Dead actually impressed me geometrically. Yeah. I liked how Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Looney Tunes shoot, too. This felt more in that vein of those two games than Evil Dead. But the theme integration here, wow, did it look good.
It looked great.
And its lighting's really good too. By
the
way, we gave a lot of praise to Dune, but this one looked really good too.
The sandworm, I activated it and immediately drained, so I couldn't partake of the worm. But no, the integration, everything looks great. It's weird that we're simultaneously talking about sandworms in multiple games.
Yes,
totally different games.
It is, but that's just how life is.
That's just life. But yeah,
all right,
I enjoyed it.
Let's jump to some more negative stuff. We'll end on a positive note, though. So Alice, Wonderland Alice, they had both games.
They did.
There. So the first one we played was the big one, the Dutch PX. Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. They did not have the Virginia Slim Topper, so I knew it wasn't the Ultimate Edition. However, we did put a game on Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. What were your thoughts?
It's what we thought. It's garbage under glass.
I want to say something redeeming.
Okay.
But I want you to start. Because I don't
You want me to start saying something redeeming? Because
I would like you to be the first one while I try and think up something.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, if you want me to say something redeeming, the game ended and we got to go do something else.
Mm-hmm.
No, it did not.
It didn't shoot like terrible.
No, it wasn't terrible. And here's the thing. It wasn't memorable in any way. It was very forgettable.
Mm-hmm.
At no point was I ever playing that game and had any desire to ever play that game again. but it didn't have so many faults that that I just have a list of, oh my God, how terrible is this? It existed in I won't even say it was meh. It was, I was actively happy I was done playing it.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't tick any boxes anywhere, really.
Yeah. Forgettable is a good statement, because I'm actually really struggling to explain. Like, there wasn't a shot I hated, but there's not a shot I liked. The art, I definitely look at the art and I'm like, I don't get it. I don't know why they went with this style, this Trailer Park Alice style,
right?
Because it does, in person, it feels like even more in your face about it. Like,
it is so bad.
Like, this is the sort of thing you would buy at the rack at a gas station, but a bottom rack that hopefully children won't notice, sort of thing. Like, it was just, I don't get it. Nothing about it. I found nothing about it interesting or appealing.
No.
But it wasn't like a hot mess of, no, oh my God, these shots don't work right. They don't go anywhere. Like, it didn't feel like a Papa Duke designed game where all of a sudden, like, none of the geometry shoots. It's just, this also wasn't interesting to shoot.
Right.
Now, I actually remember better, because I liked it even less when it came to play, was the small game, Alice Goes to Wonderland. And when I first started it, the first 30 seconds, I actually thought, this is kind of cool.
And then it ended.
No, it didn't end, Tony. It didn't end. I've talked about how, like, I didn't get a whole lot of time on Dune.
Do you not like having 147 ball saves?
Look,
you don't like a ball save activating every time you trip a switch?
Tony, I want you to access your member berries. Do you remember the time we were at TPF? We're going back in time. And Ron Hallett from Some Podcast was there, and we played Blues Brothers. Do you remember that? Do you remember how when I rolled it? And do you remember how good of a player I am overall?
Yeah.
I rolled it. Did the game glitch? I don't know. I rolled it. So who cares? Like, I didn't roll this, but this was not good.
No.
It was, when you're right, ball saves, because you had the same ball saves.
Oh, it was the. And that's the thing is, I had ball saves and ball save. And I'm like, no, let it end. Please let it be over.
It seems to, I think, have modes, but it doesn't, there's no fanfare to it. So, like, you and I both at one point seem to access a mode where I think we're supposed to defeat the Queen of Hearts. I think. Because the display changed and there was a countdown, but it wasn't saying what to do. There was a flashing ramp, the left ramp, which I think is the Queen of Hearts ramp. So I thought, I'm supposed to make that shot. And I couldn't make the shot by the time I noticed that and saw the timer and all of that. So I never did it. And then the rest of the time, it's sort of like the static screen just showing the score, which didn't shock me given the budget, because this is a game that's like under $1,000.
Yeah.
And so bearing that in mind, like, the art and stuff I liked better than the Big Alice. I thought the little mushroom pop bumpers were clever-ish.
Yes.
Again, it's very, very simple. And the thing I will give it credit for is, unlike Stewie Pinball or Donkey Pinball or the bottom of Munster's Pinball, this is not a full-size pinball, but it does physically feel a lot closer than those real little ones did.
It does.
I thought it actually played pretty
I can
well.
see that.
I actually thought it shot pretty well like a full-size pinball would shoot. I was surprised that it shot like that. However, the game setup is way too easy.
Yeah.
Way too, like, I'm not sure if you can make it harder. I'm sure there is a way. Like, someone's like, just Pinball Olympics people are like, just give me my hacksaw and some rubber bands, and I'll make it real hard. But wow,
every time the ball save activates, it's going to spray pepper spray in your face.
Yeah. And apparently they're working on a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles version.
Yeah, I did see that.
I haven't read much on it, but this one I was like, no.
Yeah.
Like, it was probably, overall, it's tough. The Big Alice was really forgettable. But just because of the torture of not knowing what to do and how long it played, I will have to say the small one was probably my worst new game of the show. Hard to say.
I can see it.
But
I think I'm like right there.
But again, being forgettable. I mean, even the other ones that didn't like, I didn't love how Dune shot. It's not forgettable.
No.
Beetlejuice is not forgettable. King Kong's not forgettable. The most forgettable things are that Star Wars game,
Yes,
and the Big Alice.
Yeah,
and Star Wars at least was fun to shoot,
and it was.
And Star Wars.
And it's Star Wars.
And it's Star Wars. Unfortunately, I still have to fall on the back on. You know what? I do like the original trilogy. But I said I wanted to end on a happy note out of our new games played. So Monster League Hockey.
Monster League Hockey.
Now, I don't normally cover homebrews because they're not commercial, so people can't buy them.
Right.
But Monster League Hockey is getting produced. Like they're building them. So he had a booth.
Yeah.
Jake, and we know Jake. He's come to the Kansas City
definitely.
area.
He's come up here and visited. We've talked to him before, friend of the show.
So, what are your thoughts on Monster League Hockey?
I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would. I've played the Alvin G head-to-head game because that's what Monster League Hockey. If you don't know, it's a head-to-head 2-player flipping balls back and forth at each other playing hockey.
Right, but unlike I think it's the Joust one from Williams, you can't do this one single player. You would need another person.
Yeah, you have to.
It has to be 2-player.
But it was really it was a lot more fun. The art done on it was great. The art package is good.
The callouts are good.
The callouts are good.
Like you do feel like you're playing hockey.
Yeah,
and they had it distanced enough from other games and turned up enough that I actually could hear it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. We had a lot of fun. It is one of those since you are playing against each other, and there's like a goalie that you have to like drop and then get a shot in, and there's a bunch of different things. It really requires a lot more thought, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah, and I was surprised to hear about just how much like visually it looks great, but I was surprised to hear from Jake how much interest had already been expressed in terms of people planning or indicating they were willing to buy one, simply because again, sorry y'all, but it's pinball. I just didn't know how many of you had friends. I'd be like, you have to play with a friend. You have to.
Well, and it'll also run up against the normal pinball problem of what do you mean I can't stick it in the corner because you have to have somebody on both sides of it.
So like there's a layout and everything like if I were to have a game like this, it couldn't be in my pinball room. There, no way. I would have to get rid of like 3 games,
right,
to accommodate it so people could actually play it.
But it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I guess some people they are like, yeah, no, I have friends and I have a space that can accommodate this.
I have friends and I have space. Get good,
get good, noob. And so in a way, it kind of reminds me a little bit, not gameplay wise, but reminds me of Winchester in that. Okay. Here, though, is a totally original theme. Yeah, it's grounded in something a lot of people understand, hockey. But there is the community. Is there a resurgence in more original stuff? Yukon Yeti is original. Okay, spiritual successor to Whitewater. But plenty of people that I'm sure played that have never played Whitewater. I didn't see a Whitewater at the show.
I didn't see a Whitewater at the show either.
Like, there are a lot of people in pinball that have not played that now.
I also didn't see a Gone Fishing.
No, I didn't see Gone Fishing either. There was, well, we'll get to it in the end. But anyway, so yeah, I enjoyed doing Monster League. It was really interesting because it's so rare to encounter the multiplayer, like head-to-head style pinball stuff in general. And so to actually see a new one produced is pretty interesting. Yeah,
and one of the interesting things that Jake was talking about there at the end is they're setting it up so you could like put in like a USB stick with MP3s on it.
Yeah, and easy to import.
So you can import and change the soundtrack to be your own, whatever songs you want.
Yeah, one of the issues, and I think he's working. I can't remember the name of it, so I apologize. I didn't look it up ahead of time. There's that we talked about it. We've never played it. It was like this road trip themed game. They're the ones that are going to help with the manufacturing side of it, and yeah, they're basically going to have the sound import tool because as a homebrew, Jake was able to put in whatever music he wanted, but it would be a licensing nightmare, especially if you see the list of his songs.
Yeah.
It would be a licensing nightmare to like. There's no economical way to do it if he were to actually give you his soundtrack. So they're going to make it so that you can personally customize your game, and then they don't have to worry about any sort of copyright issues and stuff.
So if you want to load it up with nothing but the soundtrack to 1776, and then play hockey. More power to you.
Saltpeter. Frankenstein. So I did have one last area just to sort of go over other thoughts about the show. Mostly in the context of games and stuff. I wanted the only thing I wrote in our OneNote is, oh, poor Three Musketeers.
Oh, I literally felt bad.
I don't
for
normally
them.
feel bad for companies because they're not human beings, but wow, did I did. So they had prominent booth space, prime real estate near the front door,
at the front door,
and their game got stuck in customs.
Yeah.
So they didn't have a game. And they had this huge table. Someone gave them an EM Three Musketeers, which I don't know that I was like, oh, that like, bless their heart that someone tried, but
that was when I saw it, when I originally saw it, when we first walked in. There's this big prominent booth, and there was nothing there.
Yeah, they had
and then when I saw the thing where they had their little video, I'm like they just have a video playing of their gameplay, and then I saw it had a marker on it. It's like, games caught in customs. I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, no, it looked like they were ready to do a big US push on this, and just because of stupid logistics, they got screwed.
Yeah,
and I felt I did feel bad.
I did.
I hope. I'll say, at TPF, if you're listening, I hope you refunded their booth cost or something for them, or gave them a discount. And they're like, dang it, Dennis, we got bills to pay. We got dragons to build. I'm like, but I mean, come on, guys. Like they had to have paid for some real prime stuff, and it's not your fault that customs got them. But wow,
that's tough. I actively felt bad because with I think this really had the chance to be a huge launch. And because here's the thing: is now, I mean, I know that they're supposed to have the game in the U.S. and touring shows for the year, but this would have been such the prime perfect launch. And now there's
Expo, I guess.
Yeah, there's nothing huge for 6 months.
Yeah,
I mean, there's going to be other shows and other places, and there'll be other stuff. But in my mind, and this could just be me, but when it really you come down to it, there's TPF in the spring and Expo in the fall. Those are the biggies, and all of the other things feel like stuff that is. Oh yeah, this also
it's
exists.
Regional.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, now that the game is known, time is already ticking because people start to, interest fades. In pinball, people are always waiting to know what the next big thing is. And it's tough for a little guy like Hexa, which doesn't have good U.S. market penetration to get attention. So this could have been an excellent opportunity. They had the space for it. Like they looked like they were real serious about.
Yeah.
It reminds me of last year in a way, though much worse for the case of Hexa, where Barrels of Fun had their big booth, and it was really clear that they had wanted to have Dune ready in time, and they didn't.
Yeah.
But at least they had Labyrinths that they could throw in there. So while it looked like they had way more booth than they needed, at least they still got a lot of company attention. The only game that was playable, they didn't even build.
Right.
And the company that built it's not even in business. So that was pretty tough. So I felt bad about that. Any other game highlights? We played a real minty taxi.
That taxi was beautiful. I don't know if I've seen a prettier taxi.
It was nice.
And there was a lot of there was a bunch of games there for sale that looked real good. There was a really nice looking Vector.
There was a nice Street Fighter. I didn't dare play it because I have had my fill of cheesy mashed potatoes, but it looked nice.
Yeah, there were a bunch of games there that there was several of them that was just like, wow, that's just the back glass is immaculate on this machine.
So my final thoughts would just be I think overall the shifts that have been made to TPF continue to have improved the show overall. I want to stress it. I really appreciated how nice the layout was in the main game room.
Oh, for sure. It was really so nice. Good. And I didn't have to pull my normal thing where I'm squeezing between people saying, excuse me, I'm not getting fresh. I'm just fat as I slip around people because there's just everything stacked up so bad.
And
it was
even
good.
Though we haven't been in years, it's probably safe to say that they're crushing Expo at this point in terms of configuration and layout. I heard Expo made a number of reforms, but that was just to get to tolerable status. Yes, TPF already has an advantage by the fact that the entire game room is carpeted, but
that is such an incredibly large advantage. But other TPF thoughts is I really wanted to thank everybody who took the time out to talk to us and wave us down. And we talked to a lot of fans, not just old friends, but people we've not met before, and the like. And it's always just an absolute pleasure to get a chance to talk to people. And it is never in my life going to be weird, it's never in my life going to not be weird to be walking around and have an absolute stranger, Tony Dennis, and it's like, yeah, and it's great, it's awesome, but every time I always have that split second where they say that, I'm like, do I know this person? Is my memory going? Is it? Am I in trouble? No, it's not. It's somebody, they listen to us, and it's great, and it's so much fun to get to talk to everybody. But there's always that split second. It's,
right.
It's like, I'm getting old now. Is this age? Is this what it's like? So
it is what it's like. Yeah.
So that was always great. Also, yes, we've heard you. We know everybody wants us to go back to Expo.
I mean, we'll think about it, but not this year. We can't.
No, not this year. But you have to understand, Expo hurt us.
Yes.
But we'll think about it.
All right, video games. I mentioned we did have a couple emails that did come in that I did integrate into the show in this realm. The first one is from Josh K., who wrote in as follows. Hi, Dennis and Tony. You mentioned that video game companies seem to be laying off people between projects more rather than keeping them on to work on future games. Well, I'm in the broader tech world and not the game industry specifically. This doesn't sound quite right to me. The gaming industry has always existed as an awkward mix of Hollywood-style production, which hires people for individual projects, and the software industry, which hires people for longer term, and 10 years have reflected that for a while. Jason Schreier's book, Press Reset, published in 2021, discusses how this has been true for a while. The intro quotes a 2017 study that points to the high job mobility even then. I'm not sure if the rest of the book covers how this has changed over time. The recent layoffs seem more driven by pandemic-era overhiring. Companies assumed more of an increase in gaming than actually occurred. You can see this in the trends. Even with layoffs, EA has 1.6 times approximately the employees it had 5 years ago. A lot of layoffs took place in 2024. 2025 and 2026 look to be more mild comparatively. Hopefully, the trend continues to soften and we return to a more normal level of employment instability in the gaming sector. Thanks, Josh K. All right, Tony, so what do you think about Josh basically saying you, because this was you, were entirely wrong?
He could be right.
Could he? He also included links, but I didn't read them out because I didn't think people wanted me to go https://publish.obsidian.md/vga-layoffs/archive/2024. But now I did.
He could very well be right. It could just be that it feels more harsh in the last few years because of the overhiring, because of how popular video gaming was when nobody could leave their houses. There have been still continuing huge layoffs. We just got the announcement Epic is cutting 1,000 people because Fortnite's just crashing. To the point that in their talk, they literally say they are spending significantly more than they're making.
Right.
And they had to lay off 1,000 people. Also, in a recent interview, John and Brenda Romero, John Romero of old school id fame and all of that, in an interview they were saying that having lived through the video game crash in the 80s, they think the current crash is worse than that.
It might be affecting more quantity of people. I don't know if the crash is quote unquote harder. The problem, maybe they're right. The problem, the difference is in the 80s crash, it was schlock.
Right.
And I know there's a lot of talk about AI slop right now, but most video games that are coming out are not full of AI slop yet. So it's not about the quality of the game, I don't think, which is what happened in 83. Like, it was trash. It was trash upon trash. I own a lot of that trash for my 2600.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. I think it is a combination of the overhiring and the cost of everything going up, and just why keep people on the payroll and just rehire people later when you need them.
Now, I will say, though, that your point that you made on the last episode, I did know of companies. I want to think like Activision did this for a long time with Call of Duty, where it was known that the team would move on to another project once. Maybe they did some surge staffing or something, but like Infinity Ward didn't like get rid of like most of Infinity Ward. At least I didn't think once they were done with their Call of Duty, they would then work on their next one while Treyarch's was getting ready to come out. And so there would be a new project that they would, and there would often be people that were already doing the pre-planning sorts of stuff. So I'd heard about that with some, maybe it's not as widespread as what like Josh may be indicating that that's not the most common model. There were some companies that do that, but a lot of companies did not rely on that approach, or they did. There was still lots of turnover that you just didn't notice.
And I think that's really possible, and a lot of that could also just be our specific view of things. Since I've always been more of a PC gamer, I know, especially back in the '90s and early 2000s. The big trend was a company would put out a game, and then they would transition a portion of that game's people to making another game. But the portion that stayed on would make some DLCs, and they would drop a couple of DLCs, and then that would keep the fandom going and interest going until they shifted people around and then dropped a new game. So that was real. That was more common back in the day, I feel, than it is now. And then when we do see stuff like that now, a lot of times it's in that weird timed bracket where they want you to buy like a season pass. Oh, buy this season pass and you can get all of the DLCs as they come out. That some games companies have started doing as it's not a live game, but it's kind of the quasi way of doing that without going to like a full live service model.
Yeah.
So
anyway,
I don't know. It's interesting the way the industry continues to shift and change.
Well, thank you, Josh. Richard A. also wrote in to give us a virtual pinball update, noting Pinball FX releasing Williams Pinball Volume 10. That'll come out on April 30th. At least that's when it's currently planned to. It will have Diner, Fire, and Comet. And he said, as an interesting aside, this is the first time official licensed virtual editions of Fire and Comet have been produced for any.
I was thinking about that because when it's listed Fire, I'm like, man, I don't know if I've ever seen Fire anywhere except for in person.
Yeah, that's the only place I've seen. I'm sure there's, someone's done it for the virtual pin, downloadable stuff, but that's unlicensed. All right, so you mentioned the layoffs.
Like I said earlier, Epic just did a big round of layoffs. Sony has started doing layoffs. They've done a large number of layoffs at Blue Point Games, which is their studio that specifically does remakes and remasters. And then they have completely shut down Dark Outlaw Games, and they are pretty much shuttering their mobile game division.
Okay. Wow.
The only mobile game stuff that they're keeping up with is like licensed stuff where they're working with an outside person on a license. Like their own internal stuff they're getting rid of. Honestly, normally on TPF wrap-ups, we normally don't have a video game section at all, but I felt the need because the drama is just so glowing and dripping.
There's a lot of drama.
With Subnautica 2. I've talked in the past about playing Subnautica, enjoying Subnautica. Unknown Worlds was the makers of Subnautica, and they were bought out in a deal by the Korean gaming group Krafton. And the deal, as I recall, was for $500 million was the buyout. But part of the deal, like inked into the contract, was a $250 million bonus payout to the original creators. So the three original creators of Unknown Worlds. If Subnautica 2 hit certain thresholds of earnings, like when it went into early release. So I know I talked last year that there was a big shakeup, and the CEO and most of the designers, upper level designers, had gotten laid off, and I never really talked about it that much because it just seemed like one of those things. It was just, they're changing management, and then the CEO and the other two co-creators had filed a suit for wrongful termination. And it's like, okay, they're whatever. No, this has turned into something else entirely. It has gotten crazy. When the layoffs had happened, Crafton had claimed that the developers had abandoned their responsibilities. And then so Crafton like dumped them and did what amounted to a full takeover of Unknown Worlds and put a new CEO in charge and started making a bunch of changes. From the suit and the joys of discovery and all of everything else that goes along with it, it turns out that the CEO of Crafton had seen the initial numbers coming out that was showing that Subnautica 2 was going to blow well past the numbers to give that $250 million bonus.
Okay.
It was like, they were like, oh, this is 100% going to happen. And he apparently reached out to their like HR and this and that. And they're like, okay, we need to fire these guys. In which they were informed, it's like, well, we can do that, but if we do that and it hits the benchmarks, we still have to pay the
$250.
We still have to pay the $250 million. Okay. And if we fire them, we open ourselves up to lawsuits. So apparently the CEO then got on ChatGPT and asked the same question and fed the contract in. And ChatGPT told him, no, you'll still have to pay. He was like, oh, what do I have to do so I don't have to pay? And ChatGPT laid him out an action plan of things to do and moves to make to break up the popularity with the fandom, remove them, and make other changes to push it so that it couldn't happen, so they wouldn't have to pay it out. And he did most of the things ChatGPT laid out exactly as ChatGPT laid out.
See, AI is helping already.
So as this all came out in court and everything came forward, the judge ruled that Ted Gill, the original CEO of Unknown Worlds, had to be reinstated as CEO, giving full operating authority of the studio and full control of the early access release as part of the ruling. So they flat said, and then because they were past the date for the rollout for the bonus, the judge demanded that the other two developers be rehired also, but also that the terms of the bonus was extended to cover the time that was lost due to this illegal termination and illegal takeover of Unknown Worlds. So then, so what gets even bigger, because you think that would be enough. They were ordered to reinstate the guy, give the guy full control, give all of this.
They lost pretty hard.
They lost real hard. Thing to remember is Crafton is one of the Korean studios that has for a while now been talking about how they're going all in on AI. They're an AI studio.
Oh, well, I mean, they're walking the walk there.
They're definitely walking the walk. Well, you think, okay, the drama's over.
Yeah.
And immediately after the judgments came down, Tim was reinstated, all the stuff was changing. Like literally the next day, an early access release date for Subnautica 2 was leaked to the streets. Tim didn't put it out. He hasn't viewed the game in almost a year. He doesn't know the status of it. He doesn't know anything about it. He hasn't had a chance to review anything. Crafton intentionally put and dropped a date after being ordered by a judge that they can't do any of that. Specifically to try and still have a chance to mess everything up so they can't hit the numbers they want to get the bonuses. So they've gone back to court. And when I say this just happened, I'm talking this happened like Wednesday this week.
Okay.
that all of that happened. So there's already been new stuff filed that they're violating the court order by putting this stuff out there. He hadn't even had time to move into the office. It's literally this all happened like the day after he was reinstated. So everything has it is just turning into the most insane debacle that I have ever heard when it comes to something like this.
Wow.
But just for all of those prominent CEOs that listen to us, you need to remember that anything you put into AI is kept as a log, and when you ask it how to break the law and get away with it, that information doesn't go away just because you closed your browser.
Yeah,
it still exists.
It's like when people pull search histories after crimes happen, and they're like, "How do I dispose of this body?" is the question that you asked Google. It's like that's that can be tracked,
right? But I had it in incognito mode. Okay.
Well,
good for you.
Your cache was clear. That's great.
That's wonderful. Your spouse couldn't accidentally find it before you killed them.
Yeah.
But your ISP still saw it. So, yeah, that's all I really have. Just because I knew it was going to be so TPF filled.
We had a lot of TPF-ness, but I'm sure people will love the juicy drama.
That drama was so juicy.
It's definitely juicier than most drama.
I was going to put this in just from the whole. You're reinstated, and then the court documents come out. It's like, no, this guy seriously was like, hey, ChatGPT, how do I get out of how can I get out of this contract without being in contract violation? They're like, well, try doing all these exact steps. Okay, I'll do that. Thank you, ChatGPT.
Yeah. They really are all in on AI. They're living it.
They are.
So kudos to them for that. Well, if you want to give us kudos, you can email us at eclecticgamerspodcast@gmail.com or go to facebook.com/eclecticgamerspodcast, or even better, support us at patreon.com/eclectic_gamers. We have 3 tiers with one as low as $1 a month.
We're available on Twitch and Instagram as eclectic_gamers.
And we'll be back in 2 weeks and 1 day to do the next episode. But until then, my name is Dennis.
I am Tony.
Goodbye.
See ya.